Hello, I'm Tiffany Cloud. Welcome to The Storm, and thank you for watching today on WYLN 35. Do you ever hang on to the past, worry about the future? Do you sometimes wish you could just live in the moment? My guest today is an expert in mind and body techniques and the effects of the relaxation response. She speaks regularly about the benefits of meditation and how to elicit the relaxation response. And she also teaches skills to reduce stress. On top of all of that, she holds a bachelor's in food and nutrition and has been practicing dietitian for 25 years. So take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. After the break, Lisa Wolk joins me on The Storm. Welcome back to The Storm. I am so pleased to be joined today by Lisa Wolk. She is the owner of the Center for Mind Body Nutrition. Lisa, thank you so much for coming on The Storm.
Thanks, Tiffany.
Happy to have you. You and I have met each other socially, spent some time together socially, and I have to say this about you. Sometimes you meet people who they just have a light about them. And when you're around them, they bring your energy up and they make you feel more positive. And you have that ability. And I think it's an ability I admire, and it's a remarkable ability. And so I just was so excited to have the opportunity to bring you on and share a bit about who you are and why you do what you do.
Sure, thank you.
Okay. Well, I'd like to start by having you tell the audience about why you have been so passionate about the connection between the mind, the body, and nutrition.
Yeah, that's a very simple question, actually. I think the reason that I have such a heart for this is because of what it's done for me. Okay. And I haven't always been in this awareness, that's for sure. When I was younger, the nutrition and exercise part sort of fascinated me through my teenage years, and of course I went on to be a dietitian and studied that. But the exercise portion of it was a savior to me in some ways. I had a rather difficult childhood. My father was an alcoholic, so all the negative things that come along with that is what I was living with at the time for many, many years. And the exercise was a way for me to cope. Okay. And also the health and nutrition part of it was so in direct contrast to what I was living with, because it wasn't just my father. The whole family isn't healthy when you're in that situation. Absolutely. So I think I ran that other direction for that reason as well. But it served as a coping mechanism for me, rather than, and it saved me in many ways, rather than going in directions that I could have went into. Sure. Now the meditation and the mindfulness and all of that stuff came much, much later. Okay. Because I didn't realize that the exercise was only maybe suppressing this unease that I had, or I never called it anxiety, but that's probably what I've had most of my life. I've never been diagnosed with that. I never even like to use that word, but I'm sure that's what it was, just from my living situation. So at some point, probably around the birth of my daughter, because I didn't want to carry all that to the next level. Right. So I began doing sort of self-help books and reading and listening to CDs, and it always interested me, but this time I was really working at it. And then sometime later I stumbled upon the meditation practice, and that was where the profound change really came. Okay, we're going to get into that, and I want to though say to you, I really, really respect your candor and your openness, and you're willing to share, because it's so often people, they put on these fronts and these facades that everything is perfect in their world. Well, guess what? Nothing is perfect in anybody's world, and all of us come to the table with our own baggage, and all of us have something somewhere in our family or somewhere in our personal life. I appreciate though you sharing that and sharing your past and sharing how you've taken experiences that were maybe dark or not happy, but tried to turn them into something positive. So thank you for being open about that. Yeah, that's a brave thing to do. It's really, I think it's really important. I actually, I've been trying to write a book for 4 or 5 years, which my middle son always says to me, "You're really gonna write that?" And it's like, I've been a little busy raising 3 kids, so yeah. I'm gonna write it. Okay. And I think it's important because there's a lot of children, there's a lot of people living with addiction, and I see that getting worse and worse. Of course, you know what's happening, not just here, but in our world in general. And I think it's real important that you don't have to stay there. Just that's what you were given, but the important thing is, what are you going to do with that? What's the next step?
Right.
And I've been blessed enough to go to the next step.
So bringing up the fact that you've dealt with a difficult past, talking about going to the next step, I want you to help everybody understand the importance of not living in the past,
right,
not fretting about the future, but just living in the moment, in the here and the now. Why does that matter so much for our mind and for our body?
The most important reason that matters is that's all you really have, is this moment that we're in right now. Nothing else really exists. And many people, it's not just a few. I think many people live worrying about the future and suffering over the past. And therefore, if you're living in that space, you're not in this one. So you're missing a lot of precious moments. You're missing appreciation of what's going on in the here and now. So that it's critically important that we do that, because we go on automatic pilot when we're in this thinking mode all the time.
Sure.
And we're just doing. We're not really living in the here and now. And I think some people do that to escape the present moment as well.
Point.
That maybe we don't want to face what's in it. But the only way we can change anything, we can only learn, we can only grow in this moment. We can't do it when we're living elsewhere, and we're really good time travelers. Our mind is always somewhere else.
And listen, hey, I am so guilty. In fact, I think it's I am about the least Zen person you will ever meet.
Well, it's not even that. It's just, we all do it.
Right.
I've done it a lot of my life. It's why I don't want to do it anymore.
Yes.
Because let me just give you an example, and maybe we're going to talk about mindfulness here. And that is the best way for us to learn how to stay in this moment, a mindfulness practice. And it could be a formal practice. It could be a formal meditation that you do, mindfulness meditation each day for 20 minutes, for 40 minutes, for 10 minutes, whatever. But there are little islands of mindfulness that we could do each day, paying attention to when we're talking to someone. Are we really seeing that person, or are we just worried about, and I was guilty of this, just what we're going to say next, or judging something, rather than really seeing that person. It's something we could practice when we're speaking to our children. Are we really listening to what they're saying to us? And
that's a big one.
Yeah, that's a
Especially
really
now
big
with
one.
cell phones and phones on.
It's
and
easy
TVs,
to lose track of that.
It's easy to lose that in the moment connection, which is so critical.
And little children are a perfect example of mindfulness. Whenever they're doing anything, they're fully engaged. They're fully focused on what they're doing. They really aren't doing several things at one time. And we're a society that we glorify multitasking and busyness. So when you say to someone, let's have you do a practice of meditation every day, a mindfulness meditation, it's almost like, I don't have time for that, or I can't do that, I can't slow my mind down, which there are techniques to do that. But the point is, you seem like you're doing nothing, but it's really everything.
Okay, and with that, we're going to go to break, because I want to talk in the next segment about how to let all that extra stuff go so that you can be in the present, like when you're practicing meditation, how you get the grocery list and all the things to do, the honey-do list out of your head to focus. So with that, we will be right back on the Storm. Welcome back to The Storm. I'm joined today by Lisa Wolk from the Center for Mind Body Nutrition. And before the break, Lisa, we were talking about meditation. And I was saying I want to learn how to get all that stuff out. The grocery list, the honey-do list, the things that the kids are telling you, the homework project du jour, all of the things that are just coming in and intruding in the mind, and just learning how to be in the quiet. I'm not good at that. I'm admittedly terrible at that. What are some tips that you would give us to sort of learn how to be more quiet and just be in the moment?
Well, firstly, you're never going to completely get all the thoughts out of your head, not while you're alive. So,
okay, fair enough.
So you don't want to really do that. They're always going to be there, but we can quiet them, and there's a lot of different ways that you can do that. I don't really teach mantra meditation very much, but that is one way, which actually some of the early studies that they did was on mantra meditations at the Benson Henry Institute, which is a lot of the stuff that I teach from that area. But, and that would be something simple. A mantra would be, even if you wanted to do a 15-minute meditation, you could pick something, a word, a phrase, a prayer, something that's comforting to you is probably better because it'll work better. If you're a prayerful person, you can use a prayer, or you can do something simple as the word peace, as the sentence all is well. And whenever the mind begins to wander, and this is the magic moment here, when you break that train of everyday thought and you go back to that mantra. Whenever the mind is trying to take off and take you in another direction, just acknowledge it and come back to the mantra, all is well. What I tend to like better are the mindfulness meditations.
Okay, what are those?
We can teach you just to do a breath focus.
Ah, yes, breath.
Yes.
Because you hear with people also that practice yoga a lot how important breath is.
Right.
Explain that to us.
The breath is your anchor. It's very simply with you all the time, so you can always call upon it to bring you back to the present moment.
And it's something you're not usually aware of.
You're not,
yet
right? Yet it's been with you from the first breath, and it'll be with you till you exit the last.
Right.
So it's what's keeping you here all around, and we barely pay attention that it's there. You could do a 3-minute breath focus if you're getting upset at work, or if you're in line, or you're frustrated at the bank and they're not, you could just close your eyes for a second, 3 seconds, 10 seconds, 3 minutes, and just take
focus on the breath.
Focus exactly on the in-breath, on the inhale, on the exhale, on the inhale, on the exhale. We do full meditations just on breath focus.
Are you giving a thought as you inhale and a thought as you exhale, or it's
it
literally
doesn't need to
just
be a thought at all. No, you could
on the breath?
You could just do. You could count. You could do that mantra, or you could just focus on the breath, the in-breath and the out-breath, the in-breath and the out-breath.
I've actually seen people who, when they're focusing on the breath, they can start to cry too. It does tend to release
it is.
a lot of things.
It's really your anchor. It's the fundamental. It's the fundamental piece to meditation is the breath.
Okay, so it's the fundamental piece to meditation. Isn't that interesting? I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about nutrition, which is another piece of what you do. You're such a fascinating woman. You have all these different specialties,
really.
but they are all linked. I mean,
trying not to be crazy in the midst of all
but they're all linked. And
they really are, yeah.
You're talking about living in the moment. And I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about just how we eat. We don't savor the moment with our food in America anymore. We did years ago when I was a kid.
Right.
In Europe, they're still savoring their food much better than we are. But, it used to be that you took that bite and you enjoyed everything and you're sitting at the table with your family. Now it's you're running on the go and you got the car and the kids are talking and you're on the cell phone and you're shoving down whatever you can. And we're not enjoying and savoring even our food. Right. Talk to us about that and how that's affecting us.
We're all guilty of that. I was guilty of that in the past. It's probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to break. I've been able to put a mindfulness practice into so many things, and you still sometimes you go back to default mode because especially when you're under stress, whatever you normally do in default mode, you seem to go back to, and that distracted eating is one of them. So what you're really speaking about is mindful eating, which is something I teach and is something I strive to do, and it's really not as easy as it sounds sometimes, but it's really wonderful when you can master it. And it's really just you're thinking. We do these raisin meditations and chocolate meditations when I do some of my classes, where we just take one piece of one Hershey Kiss, and before you even unwrap it, you look at the wrapper, you look at the crinkles in the wrapper, and you think about too, what did this have to go through to actually get to this place into my hand? I mean, there's a whole, with the cocoa bean and everything, and all the people involved, and all the transportation involved, and you're being appreciative of that. We don't even think of that because it comes so easy to us.
Interesting.
So we actually do some meditations on that, and that's a mindfulness practice right there, where we kind of look at it before we open it, and then we open it. We could, if we do the raisin, you can actually listen to it. And even if you don't like a raisin when you're doing that type of meditation, it's just about experiencing it. Okay, you don't have to like it, you don't have to make any judgments on it. It's just experiencing whatever you're experiencing in that moment. And it teaches us that. And we put the chocolate in our mouth and we just let it sit there. You don't chew it. Just let it melt there. And it's really amazing.
God, I want a piece of chocolate right now. I'm sorry.
But guess what?
Right.
You only want one piece when you
right.
enjoy it in that way, and you can't almost believe that. And it's why, you know, I'm totally against not dieting in a sense, because we do, you know, people have diabetes and there's different things you need to be careful of. But excessive dieting and chronic dieting, it's really, it doesn't work.
Well, because at the end of the day, you end up going back to your
right, and there is
regaining or whatever.
Well, I even have a program, Tiff, that we do that's called it's not willpower, it's neuroscience. Your brain will keep taking you back. This is how we evolved on the planet. When we shut down our metabolism, you're really destroying your metabolism when you are on low-calorie diets. That's really what you're doing. It's not a smart thing to do.
Well, you could definitely see how if you were eating and appreciating every bite and taking it in and chewing it for the appropriate number of chews instead of just shoveling it all down there, you would actually probably eat considerably less.
You do eat considerably less.
Of course you do.
We have a hard time doing it because we're rushing around, because this requires us to sit at a table, to even put our food pleasurably on a plate so that it looks pretty. We're not taking the time to necessarily do that. And then taking breaks in between to check our satiety level. You know, the Buddhist tradition has a way to say you eat till you're 2/3 full. The other third is for the doctor.
So all of this, though, does require us to just slow down.
Slow down and take your time and eat what you love. Okay, this is where this internal wisdom resides. It's in you. You know what's best for you. No, you're not going to eat cookies all day long. Some people feel like I can't trust myself, but you can. So you're putting your trust in someone else to tell you what to eat.
Okay, and with that, we're going to take another break. We will be right back on The Storm. Welcome back to The Storm. So Lisa, I want to talk to you about something that you've been doing. You've been doing a Steps to Resiliency program. Tell the audience a bit about what that is, why it's important.
Well, I just piloted this program called Steps to Resiliency back in November. We did a group of adults and we did a group of teenagers, 13 to 16. And really, the Steps to Resiliency program originated from John Kabat-Zinn's mindfulness-based stress reduction and the Benson Henry SMART program. They're the two programs that I've been trained in. I did the 8-week mindfulness-based stress reduction and studied the SMART program as well. And I took the best that I could from those two and wrapped it into this package. It's eventually, I hope it to be an 8-week program, because you really need that amount of time to learn a lot of these skills. But I rolled it out for 3 weeks, and we did a lot of fun things, and we learned a lot. And basically, more than education, more than experience, more than any of these things is resiliency to success, whether it's in the cancer word, whether it's in business, the Olympics. I mean, that is a term from Dan Becker, I believe his name is, that said that, but it's really true. If we are resilient, we can get through anything.
Sure. Why do you suppose some people are more resilient than others?
Well, I think it has a lot to do with many things. It's multidimensional. It's multifactorial. All I have studied on resilience, we don't really know all the answers. It could be the constitution that you already have. It could be your personality. It could be you may be more resilient when you're young, and then when you're older, or vice versa. A situation is different. It could be what's hitting you at that particular time. So there's a lot of factors, but there are skills. Meditation is one skill in the toolbox to help you become resilient. When you do mindfulness meditation, you are accepting what is in this present moment right here. You're not trying to change it, alter it, make it any different than what it is. So you're learning to accept and then move from there. In that place, we can then let it go or change it or make a decision.
So it's very similar. You could use the word perhaps coping almost interchangeably with resiliency?
Well, there's skills too, coping skills to help you be more resilient.
Okay, I follow
like
you.
cognitive
Okay.
reappraisal, like reframing how you look at things, looking at your belief systems. Oh, I believe that my whole life. That doesn't necessarily mean it's true because my parents told me that, or someone told me this about myself. Questioning our beliefs. There's many different techniques and ways, and reframing is one of them. Well, think a better thought than that.
Right.
You know, there's many, but these things we've been doing sometimes for many, many years. So it takes time, you know.
Well, I love that I love that you have young people doing this as well, because
yes,
there's just
really cool to me.
Yeah, a lot of young people have tremendous anxiety.
Yeah, I get chills when I talk about the kids because the kids that I did, some of them had a lot of anxiety with school issues, and we taught them some very simple techniques. I didn't have them as long as I wanted to, but they came back the next week and were like, that really worked, what you showed me. And we had them do a writing exercise, and just like a happy place or some place that they were comfortable with when they were feeling sad or upset. And they did a 5-minute writing exercise. We did a 6-minute breath awareness, and I said, write again about your place. Then the kids switched. And when they switched their papers, I said, just read it to yourself, the first one and the second one, and every single one of them were like, the words are it's more expansive, the vocabulary.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, I feel like I'm in their place, and that's on a 6-minute. I said, imagine if you do that before school.
Right.
Or before you tack your homework where you can calm down.
Well, Lisa, thank you so much for coming on the show. You are doing great work. I so enjoyed you coming on, and you can come back anytime. And if you want to get to know more about Mind Body Nutrition, they are on Facebook, and you could also reach Lisa at mindbodynutrition@frontier.com. That is her email. Thanks a lot. And remember, folks, when you look around and don't like what you see, don't complain about it. You can do something about it. You can be in the present, first of all. And thank you for watching.